So Hydra has a 48-minute time. Eichinator has a 41-minute time. There might be a small gap in skill here, but it shouldn't be anything too much to worry about. This should still be a very entertaining race. So look on both sides to see if either of our runners are going to be on PB pace. That should be the #1 priority here. So both of our runners making it through prologue without any problem whatsoever. Doing the bunny hopping as per usual. This sync is very, very good, I must say. Also, Eichinator's timer did not start until Chapter 1, for whatever reason. I may have been wrong in terms of PB here. We'll find out. This could end up being a pretty good race. As Hydra just in the early lead here. Not by much, though. Wow. That was incredible. They were moving on the zippers at the exact same time. Eichinator now taking a slight lead. And Eichinator's lead is growing here as Hydra having a little bit of trouble with that falling block room. Plenty of good hyper dashes, but Hydra making up that space very quickly as the gap has become significantly less than it was before. Eichinator's still in the lead, but not by much. These two literally neck and neck now. And Hydra, and they're both going to finish at almost the exact same time. That's crazy. A 127 and a 128. So it seems as if Eichinator's timer is actually going by chapter. Yes, I do believe that Hydra's PB is faster. Just by the way that Hydra's playing, it kind of seems like his PB should be better than a 48. There's the commentator's curse. Brilliant. I told him how well he was playing, and then he dies in this room over and over again. So Eichinator taking a big lead here. Not a huge lead, but enough for Chapter 2 for sure. So we'll flip our audio here. Now, Eichinator entering the battle and chase. Again, battle and mimics your movements on a 3-second delay. Nothing that really troubles our runners normally. You're going to see them just whiz around these sections regardless of where battling is. Also, that is a strat I have not seen in a long time from Eichinator there. Yeah, the right side is the segment timer. I mentioned that at the start of the chapter. It does, yeah, he's doing it per segment. Eichinator fizzing through it. The last room here, no trouble. I'll escape old site now. Hydra not too far behind, but just a little bit. Got this last room to go through, so pay attention to Hydra's screen. We'll see if he's able to get through this. Wow, very interesting strat there. Splitting between the battle-ins and making it through. So both of our runners not having very much trouble at all with old site, as you would expect. And as I say that, Hydra diagonal dashes into the floor and dies. Again, this has happened every single race I've done this over in this tournament. I just need to know when to When to shut my mouth. The commentator's curse is strong. Eichinator finishing up a 4:35 on the overall timer right now for Eichinator. Hydra struggling a little bit with the movement here in the awake segment, but it's going to make it through, no problem. No danger in the awake segment. Only way to die is to actually accidentally retry or something and kill yourself. Eichinator entering the Resort of Doom. Celestial Resort. A completely cycle-based chapter. This one makes for a lot of interesting strats. As he dies in the first room. Unfortunately, I think looking for a better cycle there. Yep. So Eichinator did retry there to get a better cycle, or to advance the cycle. I'm going to do a couple of well-timed dashes to get around those dust creatures. These dust bunnies, or dust creatures, are the main mechanic of this chapter. They are the ones that are on set cycles. You're doing a good job there, making it through that first room with the dust bunnies. Eichinator taking a death here in the pressure platform room. Taking it slow and steady, making sure that he stays safe. And we were actually introduced to them in the last chapter, but I'll explain those now. The lock switches, basically there's a certain amount of them in each room, and if you hit them all, you unlock the switch block. It'll move in a specific direction and basically open just like a door with a key. So Eichinator entering the huge mess segment now. Basically, as you can see to your left there is a key trapped in all of this mess, and we're going to clean this entire mess up, get to that key so we can progress. There are 3 sections, the book section, the clothes section, and the towel section. Or sorry, yes, yeah. So we're going to be seeing, wow, nice save from Eichinator there. Another nice save. Oh, unfortunately, takes a death regardless. Giving Hydra maybe a bit of time here to catch up. And it can be difficult if you die in one of these rooms because, yeah, you can be thwarted by the death cycle of these rooms. It can definitely cause a problem. Eichinator finally making it out of that room now. Unfortunate. But Hydra now hot on his tail, and as I say that, Hydra takes a death, and another in the same room. But yeah, there are 3 sections. There's the top, the middle, and the bottom. We go to the bottom, then the top, then the middle. Specifically because of the way that Oshiro is positioned after each of these segments. You're going to see Oshiro's right here for this one, and you can understand that if you go to the top or the middle, it would take a long time to, you know, maneuver through this maze and get back to him to initiate that cutscene to be able to progress. We do actually have to talk to Oshiro to be able to progress into the next segment. Eichinator taking a death. Hydra still not far behind. So Eichinator's going to clean up those books. And there you can see Oshiro positioned at the top of the huge mess room, which is perfect. So we're able to talk to him very quickly and continue. Neat strat there for Eichinator using a hyper dash to get across those. As Hydra is now going to be touching up on those books as well. And Eichinator is going to touch up on the towels. And that's said and done. So he's going to go grab the key that we saw was trapped just a moment ago. And he's going to take this up to the top left corner of the room and proceed through the elevator shaft. Now, the elevator shaft is interesting. There are quite a few longer rooms in the elevator shaft segment. Of course, other than the Oshiro fight, which we'll see at the end of the chapter. But deaths at the end of these rooms, such as this one especially, can be very costly. Hopefully we don't see any here. No, Eichinator makes it through no problem. Hydra now into the elevator shaft as well. Also, Eichinator's screen right now, we're going to be seeing a room with a bunch of pressure platforms. We'll see if he goes for the strat. Yes, he will. Unfortunately, going to take a death, though, on a poor cycle. Oh, another death as well. Giving Hydra some lenience here. Ooh, a nice reverse. And a great couple of wall bounces there from Hydra as well. As you can see, it took my attention away from Eichinator's screen. But Eichinator getting the key skip eventually. And Eichinator is going to make his way to the presidential suite. And into the Oshiro boss fight. Oshiro is pretty basic. He moves on a horizontal plane. And basically, the attack is signified by the lightning bolt that you see go across the screen. Which basically just tells you where exactly his trajectory is going to be. Oh, Eichinator dashing into the floor instead of dashing forward there and taking a death. That time avoiding him. And it's good to know that his head can also be bounced off of. And if Madeline doesn't have a dash, it'll replenish her dash as well. So Hydra catching up to Eichinator here as well. This last room is very, very long and can be very, very costly to take a death in. As I said, unfortunately, that was at the early fortunately, it was at the early sections. So not too much to worry about there. But now, this room can completely disorient you if you die. Especially if you're used to the opening cycle when you first enter the room. Eichinator has to take it a bit slower than maybe usual, but makes it through without issue. Hydra on the left side now. We'll see if he can make it through without problem. Oh, good save there, bouncing off of Oshiro's head. And that's a good Chapter 3 from Hydra. Catching up to Eichinator. This is a very close race so far. Eichinator now entering Chapter 4, Golden Ridge. You see these, well, they're off the screen now, but the clouds basically act as trampolines. The lower they go, the higher you bounce. You get introduced to water for the first time here. And these green balls here, basically, or turquoise, whatever color you want to say they are. I call them green because they look green to me. They basically push Madeline the same distance as a dash would in the same 8 directions that Madeline can dash. And they also replenish her dash while she's inside of them as well. And they can actually be activated faster by pressing the dash button while inside of them. So Eichinator's still a bit in the lead here. Likely won't stay that way. Probably could get, it'll either get larger or smaller, the lead. I can't expect them to stay at the same pace behind each other the entire time. Oh, Eichinator almost running out of stamina there. Hydra is right behind him, not far off. At all. Like, at all. Very close race so far. Oh, Eichinator getting that one in that auto-scroller skip first try. Hydra took a death in this room as well, so he'll be a bit farther behind than he would have liked to. Oh, Hydra taking a death in the auto-scroller skip, and that's going to give Eichinator a larger lead than he had. And actually, the lead is not as large as you might expect, as you can probably see from their in-game timers right now. Eichinator's timer, Eichinator going to take a death in that room. Hydra's taking a death as well, so Eichinator's death a bit more costly at the very end of that room, but Hydra's going to take a death and negate that. Very unfortunate. But yeah, as I was saying, you can probably see by their in-game timers that Eichinator is actually a bit farther behind, or sorry, is a bit ahead in seconds in the in-game timer, which means his lead is not as big as it might seem. It's about a 7-second difference. Oh, that's an unfortunate death for Eichinator, and Hydra is now hot on his tail, but takes a death in the exact same spot as Eichinator did in that room earlier. That's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Good save there by grabbing onto that moving platform, though. That's always the good thing about the strat that's used there, is that there's always a backup. If you do screw it up, there's always that moving platform there that you can move back into and basically save it. Eichinator getting ready to enter the heavy wind section, probably the hardest section of Chapter 4. Now, on the screen after this one, I do believe it's the screen after this one, you're going to see your first instance of the snowballs. They're basically mini Oshiros. They move from right to left instead. They can be bounced off of just like Oshiro to replenish a dash, as you see there. That was probably unintentional on Eichinator's part, though. Oh, unfortunate death there from Hydra. Eichinator gaining more of a lead as well again. And basically the snowballs, if they are on the wrong cycle and you're not used to it, great usage of a save off of one of them there from Eichinator. Are still almost died, but managed to get through that without any deaths. If they do start to go on the wrong cycle, obviously if you mess up your strat and they start coming in different directions than you're used to, it can really screw things up, and they can become a nuisance very quickly. Eichinator now in the last room. It's going to have no snowballs, but it's going to be very long. And he's going to take a death in about the middle of the room, so that's going to lose some time. Give Hydra a little bit of time here to catch up, maybe. Hydra just waiting for that snowball to go. Oh, it takes a death at the very end, though. Very unfortunate. Eichinator's going to finish up with 16:04 on the timer as he exits Golden Ridge. That lead growing a little bit by little bit here. Hydra's going to need to step up for sure, and Eichinator's going to have a couple of unfortunate deaths, or maybe we're going to see some faster strats here from Hydra to catch up. As I say that, though, he's going to take a death here at the end in the last room of Chapter 4, twice actually, as Eichinator's now starting off Mirror Temple. These red balls are the same as the green ones, basically. They move in the same 8 directions, can be activated quicker by pressing the dash button. But the thing is, they move until they run into something or they're dashed out of. And these moving platforms you're going to see here in Chapter 4, or Chapter 5 rather, are activated when Madeline dashes. And they move along a set little coaster you can see in the background. Hydra taking a little bit of time to start the next chapter here, so we're going to see a larger difference in the in-game time now. It's now about 17 seconds instead of 7, which is a little unfortunate because you don't get to see the pure accuracy, but so Eichinator still in the lead here by a little bit. It looks, like I said, it looks a lot larger of a lead than it is, really, because of the difference in the IGT. Hydra taking a death in this room is going to be through the saw blades. He will. Those blades, when they're on the different cycle, if you go into the red ball right away, it's very, very tight fit between them on the death cycle in that room. So Eichinator about to enter the mirror here. As we'll see the cutscene skip, and now we're going to be introduced to our great friends in this chapter, the Seekers. Basically, the Seekers, this section is just meant to give you like a rundown of how they work. They move along both horizontal and vertical planes. They track you and basically attempt to kill you. Now, this section is called Unraveling, and Eichinator is about to enter here. Oh, Hydra taking a death on those blades. Unfortunately, if you are a bit too fast or a bit too slow in the room that Hydra is in right now, you can be punished by the cycle of those blades, giving Eichinator even more of a lead than he had already. There is your first Seeker. He's also able to. You're also able to bonk off their heads, quite similar to Oshiro and the snowballs to gain your dash again. Sorry, if you don't have it to replenish it. And as you can see in that room, they can actually be manipulated into hitting. They can be manipulated into hitting lock switches for you, and you're gonna see Eichinator. Oh, unfortunately, just a little too wide there. They also emit a mini shockwave whenever they respawn after dying, and that boost can be used to pertain momentum. Unfortunately, Eichinator taking a death in this room after the Seeker didn't grab that lock switch for him. This room is a very interesting room. Each runner has a different strat for this room. Almost each runner, at least, has a different strat for this room, whatever they feel most comfortable with. And it is very easy in this room if you do not have the correct... cycle or strat that you're used to, and the Seeker gets a bit out of position, it can become very, very very, very annoying. Speaking too fast, and I'm jumbling my words. So we're gonna see a little skip in this room coming up here from Eichinator, if he's gonna get it. Yes, he is, no problem. That little reverse dash jump there that we saw off that wall actually skips the most time out of any of the skips we do in this game. That's a 3-minute time save over doing that traditionally. Oh, very good save there from Eichinator. Having a little bit of trouble, but that Seeker was having a little bit of trouble tracking him too. That skip that Eichinator did that I was talking about is called Search Skip. Basically, in that large area that we saw right after they entered into that section, you're supposed to search for 2 keys to unlock a couple of keyholes, sorry, to take a red ball across the room that they skipped in. But by doing a reverse jump dash there, they're able to just completely skip that, and that saves about 3 minutes. So Eichinator now in the Theo section. Theo, our good friend, our good buddy pal, our mountain climbing buddy, is trapped in this crystal. And unfortunately, we can't dash while we are carrying him. However, we can toss him and then dash into the pickup animation, which in turn saves, stores the momentum from the dash we were just doing while we're still carrying Theo. Wow, very well done by Eichinator in that room. This Hydra just did an incredibly interesting dash. You see there on these moving platforms, they can be abused for momentum big time. So Eichinator in the last room of the Theo section as Hydra starts it. Eichinator is going to take a death. Deaths in this room can be very, very costly, for sure. It is a long room, and dying at the end can cause some problems, but Eichinator makes it through no problem. And now in the very last room in the chapter, these little sound waves, shock waves, trying to push you back, you just dash through them until we get to the end of the chapter where we throw Theo's crystal into the eyeball, and we are finished. So a good chapter 5 there from Eichinator, as Hydra now still not super far behind. And they have the exact same problem here with manipulating that Seeker. Both runners actually did the exact same thing in that room, which is hilarious. So Eichinator is going to introduce us to another new mechanic here. These feathers travel for a certain amount of time. They can go in any direction. Sorry, my apologies. They can go in any direction, mostly used with the analog stick on a controller. However, keyboard players obviously don't have that privilege. Eichinator also electing not to go for leg skip. Oh, Hydra narrowly avoiding a death and then narrowly avoiding another one from being crushed. Also, I forgot to mention that if Theo does die in these sections, it falls off of the map or anything, falls into the floor, Madeline also dies, and the room is reset. Eichinator getting crushed there by fittingly named Crush Blocks, or lovingly known in the community as Kevin Blocks, named after the guy who actually did the sound clip for them. Very, very funny story behind that one as well. Basically, these, you can see the blue sides of them. If you dash into either of those sides, the Crush Block will move in that direction for a set amount of time until they run into something. Sorry, not for a set amount of time, but it's until they run into something. So Eichinator taking the bottom path here, which I have not seen. Another thing I have not seen in a long while. Traditionally, runners will take the top path there. There are lots of mixing and matching paths in Chapter 6. Hydra also electing not to go for the lake skip, so unfortunately we're not going to see a lake skip in this run. It only saves about 7 or 8 seconds, so not a huge time loss for either of the runners, and at the skill level that they're at in this game, definitely not something that's, you know, always viable. Again, we're pretty tight here, though. There's still lots of time for Hydra to come back. Eichinator having a little bit of trouble in this feather and bumper room. These bumpers actually, I mean, they're traditional bumpers. You hit them, you bounce off them, basically. However, if you are facing away from them when you make impact with them, you do actually gain an additional boost. Eichinator is going to take the higher route here as well. Very interesting. So the crush blocks are very similar to the dash blocks and any other blocks that help you carry momentum in this game because they can be abused momentum-wise to help us maintain extra momentum. So here you're going to see Hydra take the way that I was talking about, the top path here, which is slightly, not even slightly, definitely, it's much faster. Eichinator now descending to rock bottom. You're going to see a couple of developer-intended shortcuts in this room as well. Actually, you're not going to see. You're going to see there's one right there. They were actually left in to make that room easier to traverse, rather than going all the way around each of those sections. Eichinator not going to go for the complete battle and boost there. And now enters the battle and fight. Hydra also taking the top path there as well, which is traditionally, it's marginally faster. So Battleland's a little angrier than she was in Chapter 2. Instead of us being scared of her and running away from her, now we're confronting her. Again, that's all story. If you guys want to know anything about the story of this game, I recommend picking it up. This game is amazing, both story-wise and gameplay-wise, and as a speed game as well. So, the battle and fight is a bit less traditional in terms of boss fights. Most boss fights have health bars, or like a set amount of hits, and then they're dead. In this one, there's a set amount of hits per room, and then once those the requirement of hits is met, she either breaks through the wall or the floor and goes into the next room. Very, very cool stuff. It's very, very innovative. She also only has 2 attacks. By running into her, we can't actually take damage. As you can see, that's the way we hit her. She has these little fireballs that you're seeing right now on Eichinator's screen. And she also has her laser, which you're also seeing on Eichinator's screen. So Hydra getting set to enter the battle and fight as well now. Both runners in the battle and fight now. Eichinator finishing up the first segment. About to enter the second phase, where she's going to get a little angry, or a little angrier, and she's going to start throwing these huge blocks at us and moving them around and all this good stuff. They can be also abused for momentum, as you can see in that room right there. Eichinator using it to his advantage. Oh, what a save from Eichinator there! Avoiding, just narrowly avoiding that fireball. That was crazy. Wow. Very close to dying. Wow, interesting strat there from Hydra. I glanced over as he did that. That's very neat. As he takes a death, though, from the lasers. Eichinator in the second to last room of this section now. Makes no mistake. Now into the final room, which is a bit longer. Can be a bit of an issue for some runners. Eichinator not having any trouble with it. Avoiding the lasers and everything else, and making it through without issue. So at the end of the chapter, Eichinator did make up with Madeline, but Madeline, our main character, makes up with Madeline, and by the power of friendship, you get a second dash, and you can... that's actually recognized by the color of Madeline's hair. When it's pink, she has 2 dashes. Red, she has 1. Blue, she has none. The red and blue you've seen throughout the entire game so far, but the pink you're just noticing now. And Eichinator finishing up Chapter 6, as Hydra is about to start the second phase of this fight. At exactly 30 minutes as well, Eichinator finishing up Chapter 6. So, like I said, the lead did get a bit bigger for Eichinator here. However, there are some rooms in Summit which can cause issues. Wow, Hydra narrowly avoiding the laser in that room. It seems every time I comment on something Hydra does, he dies shortly after, so... But like I said, there are plenty of rooms in the Summit that can be costly to die in, very costly to die in. And there's lots of time to be made up here for Hydra if he plays his cards right, and Eichinator has a few mistakes. And as I say that, Eichinator is struggling a little bit here. The Summit base, not usually that big of a problem for runners, however, it can be in a race environment for sure. You get to Summit, you realize it's the last chapter, and then the nerves start coming in. Wow, Eichinator taking an interesting path to that that battling ball. As Hydra finishing up Chapter 6 now. And Hydra is going to be pretty hot on Eichinator's tail at the end of this chapter. So we are definitely in for a good finale here. Our runners not far behind each other whatsoever. A 740. Chapter 6 from Hydra. Good stuff. Finishing up about a minute and a few seconds behind Eichinator. Unfortunately, the action taking a bit to get underway on Hydra's side, so we're going to see even more of a difference now in the synchronization. Eichinator finishing up 500 meters without very much problem. And now moving into 1,000 meters. I forgot to mention that the Summit is basically... anyone who knows about this game would know already, but for anyone who's new here, who has not seen Celeste, basically the Summit is a culmination of all the other chapters combined. So you're seeing the dream blocks from the from chapter 2 right now being used in this segment, and before you were seeing the zippers and the basically just the palette of chapter 1 being used. So Hydra's now entering 500 meters, which is the chapter 1 segment, as I said. Eichinator about halfway through the 1,000 meter segment. Oh, Hydra taking an unfortunate death in that room. Can be costly. Eichinator now in the last room of 1,000 meters. Making no mistakes, and on to 1,500. 1,500, it's definitely opinionative, but I believe, in my opinion, that 1,500 is one of the hardest segments in the entire run. Not only in the entire run, but as a casual player, 1,500 meters is very, very difficult. There's definitely a spike in difficulty. Wow, Hydra with a good save right there in the spring and falling block room there. Eichinator having a bit of trouble here. Like I said, it can be a big pain, this section. Oh, missing the lock switch twice. Getting it that time, but taking a death. There we go. Good stuff from Eichinator. Oh, Hydra making a narrow save there. Very good stuff. This is another room that Hydra's in right now that has a lot of strats in it. Eichinator, will he go for the... Wow, good save. However, not the strat I was going to think of. But I mean, again, the skill level of these runners a bit underneath of that strat for sure. A very hard strat in that room that they can do with some ultra dashes rather. Eichinator about to enter the last room of 1,500 meters. Can be a bit difficult sometimes, especially if you're on the wrong cycle here. But Eichinator has no trouble. Makes it through as Hydra is finishing up 1,000 meters right behind him. Like I said, still very close. They are entire sections behind each other, but still very, very closely. A close race, sorry. So, as I'm being told in the chat right now, we'll see if Hydra goes for the hyper strat, or sorry, the ultra strat in that room. Hydra is struggling with this room, however. On a death cycle, it can be a bit weird. Eichinator in 2,000 meters now. The introduction of the wind again and the snowballs. How is he not dead? How is he not dead? What just happened? Oh my goodness. Will he go for auto-scroller skip? No, he won't. Oh, Hydra taking a plummet. Now, let's see. No, not on that. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, we're gonna see it here. No, we're not. Are we? That's good stuff. Now for the second part, no, having some trouble with it. Going for it is one thing. Getting it is a completely different monster. As Eichinator blitzing his way through the 2,000 meter section. Oh, taking a death there though, unfortunately, at the end of this room. It can be costly. So I actually had my attention taken away. I didn't see the room, or the strat that Hydra used to complete that room. As Eichinator now in the last room of the 1,500 meter segment. So Eichinator finishing up 2,000 again. Our runners both finishing segments up, basically side by side here. Eichinator taking... I've actually never seen that happen in a run before. Eichinator going back to the other room there to grab that other red ball and just take the high path the entire way. Now we're going to try to see a key skip here. For Eichinator, having a bit of trouble. Hydra goes for the auto-scroller skip and gets it! Oh, that's impressive from Hydra. Getting the auto-scroller skip almost effortlessly and making a save there as well. Oh, making another save as well. Oh my goodness. Hydra getting that blood sugar level up. Because that was so sweet. Bad joke. Unfortunate. No door skip. No door skip from Eichinator. You already know, though, from from what I'm being told in chat, or what I've been told in chat, and the way Hydra's been playing, I think it's safe to say we're going to see a door skip attempt from Hydra. Keep your eyes open. So Eichinator a bit behind, or sorry, a bit ahead now. Oh, I thought Hydra was going to do the exact same strat. Hydra, unfortunately, struggling to get into that red bubble. Oh, and taking a death on the spikes, too. That's so unfortunate. As Eichinator now in the 3,000 meter segment, the big final finale. The big final finale. Wow. Hydra saving that. Unfortunately forgetting that those blocks move when you dash. Wow. I have no idea what happened there, but he's alive. So it counts. Turn our attention to Hydra again real quick. Going for this key skip. Gets it on the, well, first try after death, so not bad. Eichinator blitzing his way through the downdraft section. There are three sections of this 3,000 meter. There's a downdraft section where basically gravity is increased. There's an updraft section where gravity is lessened. And there's a neutral section, which is just normal. Here we go on a Hydra screen. Gets the first door. Oh, misses the dash crystal to get the second one, however. And takes a death on the first door on the second try. Still going for it. Gets the first door again. And gets the second. Hydra with the door skip. Eichinator now in the updraft section. Trying so hard not to lose it right now. Eichinator on decent pace here, however, not for PB. I don't think BP. Wow. Best personal. I don't think PB is viable for him anymore, unfortunately. A very good run nonetheless. Still on good pace here for at least, I'm saying, maybe a mid 42 or an what's the word I'm looking for? Low. Yeah, low 43. Hydra, however, on speedrun.com, if that PB is correct, is on good pace for PB. I'd say Hydra is about a minute and a half almost behind now, unfortunately. And yeah, if 46 is Hydra's PB, he is hot on PB pace right now. Eichinator finishing up the updraft section here. Making very few mistakes. As Eichinator now in the final 5 flags. Also, these flags are numbered from 30 to 1. So feel free to count along. I completely forgot about that. It's kind of too late now, but you could probably do it for Hydra in the finale here. Eichinator on flag 3. Making it through so far without trouble. Eichinator now on flag 1. GG's to Eichinator. Not only on the win, but a very good time here as well. And yeah, as I expected, a high 42. GG's to Eichinator. on the win. And we now turn our attention to Hydra, making the final climb. Trying to go for that hyper. Oh, does the reverse jump dash. That is an interesting strat. Can be hard to gather your bearings after doing that. Very cool. But Hydra, yeah, hot on PB pace here. There's no reason he should lose it if his PB is a 46. Oh, wall bouncing a bit too early there, though. Unfortunate. Not wall bouncing at all that time. Also unfortunate. Getting it just right on the third try. You know what they say. Third time's the charm. Hydra going for the jump strat there. That was interesting as well. You can definitely see the potential on Hydra's side. It's the deaths that need to slow down. But Hydra will finish up with a dang good time as well. This is looking like a 43. It's going to be close. This is definitely a 43. Unless there is a flag 1 death in the books here. No, not at all. 43:54 is the final time for Hydra. GG's to both runners here. So both runners finishing up with good times here. Very, very well done. Make sure you get the GGs in the chat. Eichinator isn't here yet, but we do have Hydra. Will we have Hydra? Very well done from both runners. And still, you know that these players are just going to improve, both of them. Especially on Hydra's side, I see a lot of potential. So yeah, very well done for both runners here. Okay, so we have both runners here in the Discord currently.
Hello.
Hello.
We've got Hydra and Aki. Both great job, guys. That was a very, very entertaining race, I must say.
Oh, thanks.
It stayed close for a long time. I think the pull ahead was in Mirror Temple. Chapter 5 was where we saw Eichinator pull ahead, but regardless, I mean, through the first 4 chapters, you guys were literally neck and neck. So it was very, very exciting. And also, GG's Hydra, was that a PB?
Yes, by 10 seconds. So,
that's awesome. I mean, PB's a PB.
Yeah,
so,
it is. I'm happy.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, very good stuff. So, I mean, I was talking to everyone in chat, and I said, first things first, at the end of the race, I said that Hydra, like, there's so much potential for, like, an incredible time. The strats that you use are pretty nuts. Some of the strats for, like, I saw, like, people were saying, you know, he's got, like, a 44 PB, and I saw some of the strats that you were doing. I was like, people who run this game with, like, 36-minute times have, like, they struggle with some of the stuff that you try.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes you might not always get it, but it's like there's definitely the potential there. So I just wanted to say, like, some of the stuff that you do is pretty incredible for someone with well, now a 43 minute PB.
Thanks, man. That means a lot. Yeah, I kind of feel similarly about that. If I'm able to reduce the deaths by, I don't know, like 40 in the first 5 chapters or whatever, I'm fairly certain a sub 40 will happen.
Absolutely. I was actually just looking right now on the stream. Eichinator had 56 deaths in this run, and you had 90, and your time was only a minute or so behind his. So that's saying something for sure about the deaths, about what you just said. About 40 less, definitely, and you could see, yeah, some insane time improvements. That's always the first thing to get by is, you know, reducing the deaths, then learning new strats, reducing the deaths, learning new strats. It's just an endless cycle in this game, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that was a great run, especially, and as well on your side, Eichinator, very, very consistent run on your side.
A little bit rusty, though.
Yeah, I was noticing, you know, there were some rooms that you were struggling with, but...
And some old school strats and other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I saw, on both sides, I must say, I saw a couple of ridiculous saves. Like, ridiculous saves. Like, rooms where I was like, oh, they're dead, and then all of a sudden, it was like, how are they still alive? So I just wanted to say, out of all the races I've commentated so far, this was a lot of fun to commentate. It was very exciting, and yeah, you guys were definitely fun to watch, not only in terms of strats used and how close the race was, but for saves, it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But anyways, like, GG's to both of you guys. It was, yeah, very, very entertaining. And so that means, Hydra, was that your first or second race?
That was my second race, and my first one, I believe, was a loss as well, so...
Yeah, and Eichinator, that was your first race,
yeah,
right?
The first one, yeah.
Yeah, so good to start off on a winning note. And Hydra, I'm sure you might have started off with 2 losses, but the wins will come. They will come, especially. And with the improvement, yeah, with the improvement that just not only like the 10-second PB here, but the room that there is for improvement for you, you'll see the wins come for sure. I can't see you not making it out of the group stage of this tournament for sure.
Really, that means a lot to me.
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
I feel the same, man.
As someone with a 36, I'm looking at your strats and I'm thinking, like, holy cow, like, there's some stuff that I can't do that you do. So,
wow.
I mean, yeah. So I guess that just about wraps it up. This is a great race here. Very exciting stuff. Thanks to everyone for coming out too and chat. There was definitely more people here for this race than there was for the race prior to. So that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you to you for commentating, man.
No problem. It was actually a last
second, yeah.
Yeah, last second thing. Yeah, I was here for my race actually. I raced right before you guys, and then they just asked me to stick around. So I have no problem with it. I love commentating. Commentating's a lot of fun. It can be a little difficult keeping up with 2 screens whenever you're by yourself, but I did a 4-way by myself earlier in the tournament, so it was like I really have no problem with it. But anyways, yeah, make sure to follow the runners, guys, and feel free to follow me as well if I don't know why you want to, but yeah, these runners both have a lot of potential room for improvement. So make sure you keep an eye open for their streams. If they're streaming this game, drop in, say hi. And yeah, you'll probably notice some improvement on both of these runners' sides very, very soon. I can see it happening. But yeah, GG's again, and I guess we'll wrap this up here now. It was a lot of fun. I'm GD Tog signing off. Again, I'll put it in the chat right now. Make sure you follow the runners and the commentators. I'm not 100% sure what's up next, if there is anything up next here on Speed Gaming. But make sure also to follow all 6 of the Speed Gaming channels for some incredible speed runs, speed races, and tournaments. There's so much going on all day, and I mean, I know you want to watch speedruns. Like, come on. It's the most exhilarating thing in the planet. So, yeah, make sure you guys stick around, follow the Speed Gaming channels, and yeah, we'll end this off on that note. So, thanks again, guys, for a really entertaining race. And, yeah, good luck in the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.